Director Park Chan-wook is no stranger to revenge. His classic, critically acclaimed Vengeance trilogy delved into the subject in all its emotional, blood-soaked glory. And while his latest film, No Other Choice, isn't a revenge film in the same way as those are, it still feels like a spiritual successor 20 years later. No Other Choice follows Yu Man-soo, a paper mill manager who descends into violence after being fired in a ruthless job market. In an attempt to get a new job in the same industry, he vows to eliminate anyone else competing for the spot, ensuring he's the only one left that's right for the job. He's played by Lee Byung-hun, who became very famous in the West for his role as the frontman in Squid Game. So it's not exactly a revenge film in the same way as the Vengeance trilogy, but Yu Man-soo's rage does come from a place of being wronged by others. And you can also really feel how much Park has refined his craft over the years, which is not to say that this film is necessarily better than any in the Vengeance trilogy, but it does feel more calculated and precise, as opposed to the more raw and unhinged feel of the trilogy films. What is probably the most impressive piece of craftsmanship throughout this film comes from Park Chan-wook's longtime editor, as he delivers another piece of work worthy of extreme praise and awards consideration. And it's no surprise considering his past work, and especially Decision to Leave, which, in my opinion, probably featured the most impressive editing of that year. And honestly, I could say the same about No Other Choice too. Not only is the editing visually pleasing to look at and is invisible when it needs to be, but it also helps tell the story and maintain an excellent pace throughout. One section of the film involves two people conducting interviews with two different characters, and while this could have been done using two separate scenes, they're instead spliced together, despite both interviews taking place in different locations at different times. Because of this, we understand both of them in relation to each other, how information obtained in one interview informs the questions in the other. And having two separate scenes wouldn't have necessarily been a bad thing, but it may have come across as a bit redundant. Putting it all into one ensures that we still get all of the relevant information in half the time. And this is only one moment where the editing is noticeably great. There are numerous others where it stands out too, whether for the storytelling, as it does here, or just because it's so visually impressive. It is absolutely outstanding. And really, I don't think there's any other director working today who gets consistently such fantastic editing. It's rare that I feel the need to comment on a film's editing at all, and yet this film and Park Chan-wook's last film, which I've already mentioned, Decision to Leave, have done that for me. No Other Choice is also absolutely hilarious. This is a comedy through and through, and surprise, surprise, this is partly due to the editing. But everything else contributes to this too. It's definitely the funniest Park film I've seen so far. And that's not to say that you aren't getting the usual darkness you would expect in one of his films. You definitely are. It just all has comedic undertones. Even just the very premise of the film is, to me, absolutely ludicrous in the funniest way possible. Everything that happens throughout No Other Choice is just because our main character and others who also work in the paper industry cannot bear to swallow their pride and work somewhere else. They'd rather struggle for a while, so they don't have to do anything other than what's been putting food on their table for decades. There's even a fictional Pulp Man of the Year award. It all just comes across to me as so hilariously ridiculous, and also satirizing the amount of pride some people will have, even to the point that it gets in the way of their family's well-being. And this is certainly true for Yu Man-soo, as his family even has to consider selling their house just to stay afloat as he searches for a new job. He'd rather be a killer than work in anything other than the paper industry. And Lee Byung-hun is absolutely hilarious in this, as he delivers what is undoubtedly one of the best performances of the year. A couple of my other favorite films of the year, One Battle After Another and It Was Just an Accident, have also featured performances that strike a great balance between comedy and drama. And No Other Choice is exactly like this too. It's also got the benefit of still being funny, even when actors aren't aren't performing comedically in their scenes, because it is satire, and a lot of the comedy comes from the fact that these characters are being serious about what they're doing. The other performances are great too, but for me, it is definitely Lee Byung-hun who is the standout. This is also a very thematically rich film, as like I've already said, it is a satire, focusing on the corporate landscape in South Korea specifically, but the ruthlessness of the job market portrayed will undoubtedly resonate with people living elsewhere too. I mean, for Yu Man-soo, he literally has no other choice but to attempt to eliminate anyone that might stand in the way of him landing his next job, because there's just not enough work going around for all of them, at least in the paper industry. The film also brilliantly brings AI into the equation, exploring how it can even further damage the job industry, as actual human workers start to become inefficient both for labor and for maximizing profit, as real people, of course, have to be paid. And next to artificial intelligence, humans are no longer needed in the same capacity as they once were. And No Other Choice never feels like it's shoving any of these themes in your face. I definitely wouldn't call it a subtle film, but it's not like it explicitly tells you, oh, the employment crisis is only going to get worse as AI continues to advance, or something like that. It lets you infer it on your own, even if it's still quite obvious. No Other Choice is, for me, close to a masterpiece. Park Chan-wook is quickly becoming one of my favorite filmmakers working today, if not one of my favorites ever. He's just so consistent with everything that he does. But yeah, as the thumbnail of this video says, this is a film that you absolutely should find a way to watch this year. It's a 4.5 out of 5 for me. Thanks so much for watching, and if you'd like more film reviews like this one, please subscribe.